The lipstick wasn't hers. I knew the shade the way a blind man knows his cane. Coral Crush. The one she swore made her look like a discount store hooker. This was a muted rose, expensive, the kind that costs more than our grocery budget. It sat on the collar of my favorite blue shirt like a bullet wound, right where her cheek would never rest. I stood in the laundry room at 2:17 a.m., the house breathing around me in the dark. The washer hummed, a low mechanical lullaby. My thumb rubbed the stain. The fabric was still damp with her perfume. Something new, citrus and smoke. Not the vanilla body spray she'd worn since college. My stomach folded in on itself, slow and deliberate, the way paper burns when you hold the match too long. Sarah was asleep upstairs. Or pretending to be. I'd come home early from the night shift, told her I had a migraine. She'd kissed my forehead, distracted. Phone buzzing on the counter like a trapped wasp. Go lie down, she'd said, already turning away. That was the first crack I'd noticed 3 weeks ago. The way her eyes slid off mine when she spoke. The way she angled her body, shielding the screen. I carried the shirt to the kitchen, laid it under the pendant light. The stain looked wetter there, obscene. I thought of the nights I'd come home to her curled on the couch, waiting with leftover lasagna and that crooked smile that used to make me stupid. Lately she was in bed by 9, earbuds in, back turned. Long day, she'd murmur. I believed her because believing was easier than the alternative. The phone records were child's play. I'm an IT guy. Passwords are my love language. Hers hadn't changed since 2018. Our anniversary, the dog's name 123. Pathetic. I sat at the desk in my boxers, the blue glow carving shadows under my eyes. The call log bloomed open like a crime scene. Marcus. 27 calls in the last month. Texts at 1:04 a.m. 1:07, 1:12. A string of eggplant emojis that made my vision tunnel. I scrolled up, heart jackhammering so hard I tasted metal. Can't wait to taste you again. Your husband still snoring? That thing you do with your tongue, Jesus. I gagged, dry and soundless. The room tilted. I pictured Marcus, tall, gym thick, the kind of guy who wore sunglasses indoors. He'd fixed our Wi-Fi last spring, lingered in the doorway flirting while Sarah laughed too loud. I thanked him, tipped him $20. He'd winked at me like we were in on the same joke. Upstairs, the floorboards creaked. I froze, shirt clutched to my chest. Sarah's silhouette appeared at the top of the stairs, hair wild, voice syrupy with sleep. Babe? You okay? I couldn't answer. My tongue felt glued to the roof of my mouth. She patted down, bare feet slapping tile, and stopped when she saw the shirt. Her face did something complicated, recognition, then fear, then a mask sliding into place. It's not what you think, she said. The oldest lie in the book, delivered with the calm of someone who'd rehearsed it. I laughed, a sound like tearing paper. You're wearing a new perfume, Sarah. You hate perfume. She swallowed. It was a gift. From Marcus. The name tasted like rust. Her eyes flicked to the phone on the desk, screen still glowing. Guilt flashed raw, then something worse, pity. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. The room shrank. I could smell the citrus on her skin, sharp as betrayal. How long? 4 months. Her voice cracked, but she didn't look away. It just happened. You were always working. I felt invisible. Invisible. The word detonated between us. I thought of the overtime I'd pulled to pay off her student loans. The surprise weekend in Asheville I'd planned for our 10th anniversary. Tickets still in my sock drawer. I'd wanted to make her feel seen. You could have talked to me, I said. My voice sounded like someone else's, thin, reedy. I tried. She hugged herself, nails digging into her arms. You were never here. Not really. I wanted to scream that I was here every night, coming home to cold sheets in her back. That I'd memorized the slope of her shoulder because it was the only part of her still facing me. Instead I said, show me the texts. She hesitated, then handed over her phone. Her passcode was the same. Of course it was. The thread with Marcus was a love letter written in filth. Photos. Videos. A selfie of her in our bed, sheets tangled, his handprint blooming red on her thigh. My vision blurred. I scrolled until I couldn't breathe. Until the words stopped making sense. Until I saw the last message, sent tonight while I was at work. Tell him soon. I'm tired of hiding. I looked up. Sarah was crying, silent tears tracking mascara down her cheeks. She looked beautiful and monstrous. I love you, she whispered. But I'm not in love with you anymore. The sentence landed like a guillotine. I felt the blade go clean through. 10 years. The dog we buried in the backyard. The miscarriage we never talked about. The way she used to trace my scars from appendicitis and call them lightning bolts. All of it, Ash. I stood. The chair rolled back and hit the wall. Get out. Jake. Now. My voice didn't shake. It was steady, cold, final. Take what you need for tonight. I'll pack the rest. She opened her mouth, closed it. For a moment I thought she'd fight. Beg. Promise therapy and second chances. Instead she nodded once like we'd agreed on takeout. She walked past me up the stairs. I heard drawers opening, the zipper of a suitcase. The sound of a life being folded into luggage. I stayed in the kitchen until the front door clicked shut. Then I sank to the floor, shirt still in my fists, and cried like a child who'd lost his mother in a crowd. The stain had dried to a rust-brown crescent. A brand. At dawn I texted Marcus from her phone. It's over. Lose this number. Then I blocked him, deleted the thread, and changed every password we shared. I left her suitcase on the porch with a note. You're single now. I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch where she used to wait for me, staring at the indent her body had left in the cushion. The house felt too big, echoing with ghosts. I kept replaying her face when she said she wasn't in love with me anymore. The way her eyes had softened, almost relieved. That's when I found the second phone. Tucked behind the cereal in the pantry, a cheap burner still warm from her hand. One text glowed on the screen, sent an hour after she left. I told him. He's destroyed. Meet me at the motel on 85. Bring the ring. My blood turned to ice. The ring. The one I'd hidden in my sock drawer for our anniversary. Platinum, tiny diamond, everything I could afford. She'd found it weeks ago. I'd seen the drawer ajar, dismissed it. I drove to the motel at sunrise, the burner clutched like a grenade. Room 12. The curtains were drawn, but I could hear them, her laugh, low and throaty, the sound she used to make when I kissed the spot behind her ear. Marcus murmured something I couldn't catch. I stood outside the door, hand raised to knock. Then I saw it through the gap in the curtains. Sarah on her knees, the ring glinting on her finger as she reached for him. Not my ring. A bigger one. Garish. The kind of promise a man makes when he thinks he's won. I lowered my hand. Turned away. In the parking lot I sat in my truck until the sun burned the dew off the hood. I thought about bursting in, about screaming, about dragging her home by her hair. Instead I drove to the jeweler, returned the platinum band, and used the refund to buy a plane ticket to anywhere but here. As the plane climbed into the clouds I looked down at the city shrinking beneath me. Our house a speck, the motel a smudge. I whispered to the window, to the sky, to the version of Sarah I'd loved. You're single now.